and
I was about to throw up. It was disgusting.
I can say with certainty that in our 11 years of friendship, this is by far the most mad Jacob has ever been at me. Like, he was about to, like, show some of the UFC moves he was learning, like, on me right then. Like, literally, we almost ended the podcast because we were in such a heated argument over this. So we decided...
Bay Area, stand up and let's be heard. No more sitting in the shadows. We're known for our winning ways, and not being the best, that just ain't for us. We're loud, we're proud, and we're unapologetic about it. So even when times are looking as dark as the black and blue we wear on our crest, we tell them that Goonies never say die. And when we're done shaking things up on the pitch, there's another shake coming. This is something that's been created by the people, for the people. This is everything and anything San Jose Earthquakes related. This is Aftershock. Vamos San Jose.
Yeah, I'm not...
I mean, we can just talk about it. Like, well, first off, the broadcast was terrible.
Dude, that
like,
was bad.
That was terrible. The fact it wasn't live. I mean, I was at work.
Yeah,
but...
they just cut out, like, 5 minutes
of the
game.
No, literally. It was super choppy to start, and I'm like, oh, maybe my internet's just going out.
Me too.
And then when it hit minute 6 and went to a commercial break, I literally looked around like I was being punked.
Yeah,
I thought something was happening, and then like I just like started recording it because I recorded the whole game because I'm like, I'll just skip halftime, and then it just kept going and going. I'm like, oh, maybe because it's a recording, but it'll pick up at the 7th minute. And then when it went live, it was at the 20th minute, and like, because like I take notes while I do it live.
Yeah.
And I'm just like
so confused.
I'm just like, okay, let's hope nothing cool happened between 6 and 20.
Yeah, I think I figured out what happened. So the Sharks and the Giants were playing at the same time. They're not going to put the Quakes ahead of that. Dude. No one cares about the Quakes.
I wonder if ESPN Plus, if...
they do have it.
Yeah.
But I don't have ESPN Plus.
I do, thankfully. But, I mean, the game started off, like, strong. It was... They were high pressing. Like, it was interesting coming because the commentators were writing them up. I can't ever really trust MLS analysts. But they just came off really strong with the high press. Like, we could not come out. But it was nice to see that we weren't, like, when Remedy and Ewell were, like, checking, it looked like they were trying to play at least, like, sideways.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't going straight back to the center backs every time.
Dude, it was just overall, we couldn't keep the ball. In the first half, we couldn't keep possession. And then they came out in the second half, and Houston basically took a more defensive approach. Mm-hmm. And then we could start
I think that's when they got the
But, I mean, I wouldn't be proud of that. They let us have the ball, you know?
Yeah, I think... welcome, by the way, the first official episode, and maybe the last, because prior to this episode it got a little heated, but we'll get to that later in the episode. No, but the game started, it was definitely like, I was fine with it, like, we've never been a possession team, so that was fine with me, but I think teams have really found out since the bubble, like, just cut off the wingers, especially Espinoza, and they don't have an outlet.
Yeah, I think our game style and our most threatening players are definitely pretty obvious at this point. Mm-hmm. I think that as long as you shut down Espinoza, we look
outlet's gone.
We look pretty one-dimensional.
Yeah, it was hard. Obviously, it sucked seeing Tommy go out early, so we didn't get to see the full game plan with that. It would have been nice to have a little more offense come from that wing. Thought Casillas did good when he came in, but yeah, struggled to get out. Set pieces looked a lot better. Honestly, like, we didn't concede a counterattack on a single one. And then, actually, we had some threatening chances. Cal had the early one early on. Trophy's kind of, I didn't like his one, but...
that was a mistake.
It was a little bit of a waste, but they weren't bad. Like, I wasn't, like... In previous seasons, I'd rather have had a goal kick than a corner for the other team, and this time I was actually excited for the corners, and we defended them pretty well. We had, the first one, I think, Remedy left someone open on the run, but other than that, we were doing fine.
Yeah, he got caught out one time. He got mixed up in a bunch, and
back post.
Could have been dangerous.
Yeah, Houston was really just not letting us out. But once they got the 2-goal lead, they were a little bit more comfortable, and they really let off the gas, which I think was just perfect because that was around the time I think we did a 4-person sub at that point. Yeah, and that kind of opened up the flow for us and the new players to really like take advantage of the space that was now open, and then that led to Paul Maurice's goal, which. Yeah, that career goal.
That was a great, great shot.
Yeah, reversed Iron Robin, right?
Yeah, I mean,
bend it in back corner. Yeah.
It was unexpected.
Yeah,
so unexpected.
It woke both teams up a little bit. The game was dying a little bit, and it kind of sparked us for about 5 10 minutes.
Unfortunately, we couldn't convert a chance at the end.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. Wando missed a tough one. Yeah. It was, and I mean, we didn't have. I can't remember a single chance other than that. I remember Paul Marie's goal. I remember Wando's miss. I don't remember a single shot attempt other than that.
I remember that we had a couple chances down the left-hand side towards the end of the game with Salinas and Marie down the left-hand side, but other than that, we didn't really look threatening at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was definitely... It was a Quakes game, for sure. It sucks because we said last week we obviously wanted to win, but we wanted to start hot. And I feel like we did.
Exactly.
I feel like we did come out with a little bit of pressure, and it wasn't like we were really slow. Like, it feels like we were playing to like a tempo, at least. Yeah. Obviously, it could have been better, but this is a good loss for me in the sense of like there were some promising things I saw, and I know we disagree on this a little bit, but it sucks. Like, I really would have wanted to win or at least a point, especially when it was like right in our grasp.
I wouldn't go as far to say it was a positive loss. I'm just happy it wasn't a terrible loss, you know?
Yeah. It sucks a season. It starts to suck another season with a loss.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping we can make some adjustments in this next week and come out stronger.
It's early on. We see how it goes, though. Okay, yeah, I mean, so we can go more into, like, the actual performances per player for us. Because this is where... So, I've known Jacob for 11 years now, I think it is. 11 years.
Too long.
And, yeah. And Jacob is, I would say... I don't want to say a pacifist, but very calm. And I can say with certainty that last night we were watching some of the fights. Like the Jake Paul fight and the UFC fights. And halfway through, like, one of the intermissions, I tell Jacob, oh, yeah, by the way, I posted a new article of player ratings. And he started reading them aloud, and... I
was about to throw up. It was disgusting.
I can say with certainty that in our 11 years of friendship, this is by far the most mad Jacob has ever been at me. Like, he was about to, like, show some of the UFC moves he was learning, like, on me right then. Like, literally, we almost ended the podcast because we were in such a heated argument over this. So we decided that we're going to pull up my article, and we're just gonna, if you haven't read it yet, go to aftershock.club. We write little articles on the game, and then we give... Oh, sorry. I give player reviews, since he doesn't want to be associated with it, on each player and what I thought of the game. And he thought each one was so horrendous, he was pulling up ESPN and all these other things.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is Jacob is going to read one by one my reviews per player and then the rating I gave him. And then he's going to clown on me a bit, and then I will defend my stance. Go ahead. We'll start with Markanowski.
Let me just start off by saying last night I was getting so mad. Saz was trying to tell me save it for tomorrow. We need for the podcast. It was tough. Saz,
it was about to fight me. This is no joke. Like, Jacob's been like I've seen him a little frustrated before. He's
I've never been mad at you.
He's one of the most level-headed people I've met. This is legitimately the most mad he's ever been at me.
I just don't know how you watched the same game that I did.
Like I literally thought there was a chance the friendship was over last night. Like, it was.
Right,
he was.
All right, whatever.
All right, we'll start with JT. Go ahead. Read what I write.
Okay, so you said that he had a big save early on. All right.
When Thompson came off, it was 10 men.
Communication and composure could have been much better on the first goal.
Yep.
Overall, good performance aside from a few bad distributions and one drop save. For the most part, I agree with that.
Okay.
The only thing I will say is that a 7.8 for a guy for the goalie that conceded 2 goals and we lost the game. Like, I'm not saying he played bad, but I don't think you can give him a 7.8 out of 10 when we lost.
So I started most people at 6, and the save when Tommy went off when we were down at 10 was huge. I thought he looked a lot better. I thought this was one of his best games. The confidence from the national team is really carrying over with him and Ewell, and you can really see in these games. What I mean by the communication on the goal is, I think, and we will save this for later because this is literally, like, hands might be thrown. This is where I think it was Flo's fault for the first one, but JT kind of got caught.
Who else's fault that would have been?
JT got caught in no man's land a little bit. As a goalkeeper, you have the best view, and you need to be talking to your teammates. And he could have talked to Alanis a little bit better, and he could have talked to Flo a little bit better. That's why I said it could have been a little bit better, but, like, it's a tough situation.
Yeah, I mean, okay, overall, I think that he played well. Besides the 2 goals, I'm not sure they were even his fault either. So, okay.
This next one's an in-depth analysis. So for all of you that are into tactics, you're welcome.
Whatever.
For Lopez.
Let me get ready for this essay. Did well early on and was giving a solid performance per usual. And that's our analysis for the game for Lopez. Yeah, so he did get subbed off for...
I gave him a...
Yeah.
What'd I give him?
Give him a 7.7 out of 10.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I thought he did okay. You know,
he didn't do anything special, but like he was solid. Like I said, he was just solid. Yeah. It was a good Lopez performance. Like that's why I think he's the number one. I think he showed it more today, especially after Marie had a good performance versus the Roots. But I thought today just showed Lopez is our number one for that spot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just still don't know about the inflated rating of 7.7 when we lost.
Yeah.
And conceded 2.
Okay.
And he's a defender.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Next up, Alanis. Doing well to apply pressure quickly and shut down the middle. Could have been a lot more connected to Youngworth on the first goal. Covering a player on the back line when they stepped could have been a lot better. Okay, so this is...
And he got a 7.4.
He got a 7.4. This is where I think we'll disagree for the most part. Is
the next one.
Is our defense, right?
Yeah.
I'll just talk a little bit about Alanis because I think he was the better of the two.
Agreed.
Again.
I can agree with that.
That first goal, basically, Youngworth got caught out in a 1v1 situation, kind of isolated, and then Alanis wasn't there to cover. It's tricky because you can't slide all the way over, but it's tough. I'd have to watch it again. Now is the other half of our wonderful center back.
Well, let me. For Alanis, I noticed while yes they did have majority possession, most of their chances came from, and it was Youngworth 99% of the time, but basic defending 101. When one of your back line steps, usually the center backs, the other three, if it's a back four, because that's usually what most teams play with, the other three have got to collapse and cover the gaps in the middle, and it was just, I was slow to see it, and I thought Alanis and Youngworth, especially compared to the Roots game, were looking more like a pairing that game with the same, at least it looked like they had the same tactics going in the game versus the Roots where they looked completely lost. And I felt like they were doing, when we had our full team there and it wasn't really a counter, they were doing a good job of really shutting down the middle. And yes, there were shots coming in, but I felt like they were doing a good job of compacting the space and just making it so JT had easier shots to deal with.
We'll see. I disagree. Okay, now we have Youngworth.
This is where Jacob literally almost stabbed me. Like my life was on the line when he read this.
Let me just point out the number first. A 7.2. Let me repeat that. 7.2 out of 10.
That's a C. He got a degree.
No.
That gets degrees. C's get degrees.
A 70%. Your baseline rating that you told me
was
every
6.
player started
with a 6.
Was a 6.
Yeah, started with a 6.
You think Youngworth did enough to raise his rating to a 7.4.
Yeah, he had a couple of late challenge slides that saved the ball from JT dealing with the shot.
No.
And you're going to hate this, but he did a good job organizing.
Okay, so let's read your description.
Yes.
A lot more organized today and really partnered well with Alanis to shut down the middle early on.
Sir.
Really poor to be turned on for the goal.
Okay,
so I have a few things. First of all, he got shielded from the ball, just a little bit of contact, and he got turned multiple times. Not just the goal. If you go back and watch, even on the other side as well, he got turned multiple times. Way too soft.
I agreed. Yeah.
That goal speaks for itself.
Yeah.
That was way too easy.
Agreed.
But then there was many times as well where he got caught in these one-on-one situations. There was a few times when he was out for the second goal as well. Did you notice he just kept backing off into the box? The attacker had time to pick his head up and find a pass in the middle.
JT had a bad distribution on that one. And then they got a counter, so like our whole team was up.
What is Youngworth doing, dropping so far into his own box, and then the player just has the most time in the world to pick his head up and find a pass in the middle, one touch, bang, goal. It's terrible.
I will say credit to Alanis and Youngworth, who got slewed on social media, is our center mids did a terrible job tracking in the late runners.
I agree.
That they were ball watching and they were not watching late runners, and we are going to get abused later in the season if we don't fix that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think Judson was missed. I think Judson was missed.
I think, and for Youngworth, I think it's the goal. It was poor. When The thing is, when he was on, it was fine and I liked it. But when he makes mistakes, it's the same thing I've been saying. When he makes mistakes, it's goal-costing mistakes.
Well, yeah, because he's our center back. You can't be making that many mistakes.
It's rough, and they're rough mistakes.
It's unacceptable. That's the point.
I think he had a good game though. Other than the mistakes, I was fine
Other
with
than
him.
the mistakes, he made like 5. Yeah. And he's our center back.
He made saves. He organized the line. It looked good.
Okay, we lost.
But the back line looked good.
Says, how many times do I have to say this? Yeah. We lost.
Yeah, but that's our forward's fault as well. That comes from the whole team. That's not just our back line. Like, I thought they put in a decent performance.
I don't think he played as well as you have your illusional world.
I don't think it was great. I don't think it was great by any means, but especially compared to other games, it was great. All right, Thompson. Yeah, he got injured. He got injured
not
4
too
minutes.
much to say.
Got injured. It's fine.
Now this is almost worse somehow. I forgot just how bad this was when I read this last night.
Be sure to go to aftershock.club to read all of my wonderful articles. Thank you. You can read Jacob's one article he's written.
I feel like you get enough comedy out of Saz's for the both of us. Okay.
This is for Remedy.
7.8 out of 10. So if you watch the game, you can have your own opinion. But this is what Saz wrote. It was nice to see him actually get forward a few times and play his game, and that is really when he shined. Was a real physical presence for us.
Yep.
Wish I could see him drop to center back less.
Yes.
I get it helps the fullbacks up and opens us up more, but it shuts down the passing lanes as well as our options.
Mm-hmm.
I'll agree that he does have a physical presence in the middle.
Yeah.
I will agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Where I will disagree is sometimes he is not very good playing forward, and he makes a lot of mistakes passing out from the back.
I agree with that, but I rather honestly have that than not when he's at center back. When he's center back, is going to be better. And I think they need to stop having him drop into center back. Like maybe every once in a while, but it literally is killing the offense, and it's just cutting down every passing lane.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with a midfielder taking the ball and taking the chance to go forward. Because so many times we're just passing back. We're passing sideways and then back, and then we get trapped, and then the counters happen. I want to be daring to go forward. So I'm fine with that. It's got to be better. It's got to be better passing percentage, but I was fine with it.
He also, as we discussed before, he lost his mark a couple times. Mm-hmm. We've got to shore up that defense overall. Okay.
I liked him on defense.
Now we move on to Jackson. And let me just start off by naming your rating. 7.8.
Yes, sir.
What are you
captain?
on?
That's my captain.
No.
That's my My captain. USA, baby. U23 Olympics. The other 10 let him down. That's Captain America right there, and you're going to give him respect.
I don't think he was involved at all. I don't think he did much to have an impact on the game.
Agreed.
And how are you giving him a 7.8 for that?
Because that's my captain.
You can't just give players these inflated ratings just because
honestly,
you like them.
I'm going to be honest. Should have maybe got an 8.
Yeah, okay. You better stop before I...
Read what I said about him.
Looked aggressive and looked like he wanted to attack the defense.
Yes.
This is the Yule we have seen on the national team.
Red, white, and blue, baby.
He barely did any of that.
Yeah, because he barely saw the ball. But when he did see the ball, he was attacking space, and he wasn't just passing back.
When you're a midfielder, you have to get on the ball more than
they're man marking him. It's a high press. The center back's got to be quicker. Go ahead, Blake Youngworth. Go ahead. I threw you the lob. Go ahead. Finish the alley-oop.
I'm talking about Ewell. He looked like he had no role in the game at all.
So what I will say is the one good thing the center mids did, one of the good ones, is they weren't playing right back to the center backs because in a high press that will kill you unless you go long ball move and have a target. The thing that was absolutely killing the center mids is they weren't playing together. No one was making a check. Like, if the ball was on the left side and Jackson was there, he wasn't making a run to open up Remedy or Trophies. He was just kind of standing where he was. Our players don't run to open up other players. They don't understand the concept, it seems like, of just being like, oh, I'm going to make a run to open up space for another person. And that's what really was killing our midfield today.
Yeah, I agree. I think that also we didn't have many options from our forwards checking back or anything. Like, it's tough. It's tough when you don't have any options going forward. It's very tough.
So we agree, 7.8. Cool.
No way. Okay.
We might agree on this one. It still might be a little generous, to be honest.
I think this is generous. We're going to talk about our Lord and Savior.
Our favorite player.
Piero.
Okay, first off, I wanted to write this, but I didn't. Get off my team. Why are you starting still? All right, go ahead.
He was not hurting the squad and looked to be making safer choices. But he was not an effective outlet and did not really help us.
I think you agree with that.
I think I agree with all of that, except you really need to emphasize he was not an effective outlet and did not really help us.
Do you want it in a different font and in capitals next week?
Just you need to say he didn't do anything at all. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm not.
He didn't hurt us though, which I almost gave him a 10 based on his prior performances.
Yeah, maybe it was just improvement from last year.
Yeah. But he got 6 out of 10.
At the end of the day, he needs to get involved more. That performance was.
I will say the last 5 minutes right before he got subbed off were probably the best 5 minutes he played. Yeah. Like he was actually connecting some passes.
Yeah. Okay, now we move on to trophies. 6.8. He struggled to be found early on offense. Could have checked deeper or dragged opponents out of spaces if he was being man-marked to open others. However, when he did get the ball, it usually led to a good offensive sequence. I basically agree with everything there. That's probably your most reasonable rating.
When he got the ball, there were good 1-2s. And I feel like there were a couple times, especially when Cal had the ball. There was one in the, I think, 68th minute where he made a crazy darting run. If Cal would have played him, he would have been one-on-one with the keeper, and Cal just dribbled right through. There were times where he's making runs, but I think he could have been a lot better. Like I said, the midfielders altogether. If you're being man-marked like that and you know it, just drag him open. You're going to open up Cal up top, and then we'll have our offense be able to take it from there.
I just want to point out that you gave Youngworth a higher rating than Trophies.
Because he had more work to do.
Doesn't mean he did it well.
He had more opportunities to mess up.
And he messed up.
Honestly, Youngworth, co-captain.
Don't you even start to think like that.
I'm buying you a Youngworth jersey with the yellow shorts, matching yellow shorts.
Okay, now we
the
move
408.
on. Now we move on to the last couple forwards. Espinosa, 6.5.
I thought it was a rougher game for him.
Realized he was being targeted early on and did well to make use of the few touches he was allowed and had drawn a lot of fouls. I want to see his game evolve to see how he can help us if he is being marked tightly in games. I mean, that's kind of the recurring theme of this last game is none of our forwards did anything. Yeah. Like, especially through the first half and, the 15 minutes of the second half. The first 60 minutes, we didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I feel like Espinosa, like I said, didn't get many touches early on, but he was doing a great job of getting fouls and at least creating set-piece opportunities for us. As the first half went on and majority of the second half, I just didn't see him. And teams have really found out just don't let Espinosa get on the counter.
Yeah.
So I want to see him, and he does check at times, and there is no questioning his work rate. It is incredible.
Yeah.
But it's checking, creating spaces for anyone, maybe doing some looping runs into the middle, and then especially both wingers. It doesn't matter who is when we're rotating the squad. Checking to our fullbacks. Like, I feel anytime our left or right back gets it, they never have an option down the line.
Yeah, I think that we definitely need to incorporate some more of that. Espinosa is definitely best when he's on the ball or running in on a through ball. It's tough when he doesn't get the ball, right? It's tough. All right. Last starting 11 player, we have Cowell. 6 out of 10, was not being found early on, which made him a lot more conservative to make runs and pressure, which inevitably hurt us as those are his biggest assets. Vision needs to be a lot better, looked more frustrated as the match went on, held on to the ball too much, went away from the final third. Okay, I understand that we have to be nice, but, how is this a 6 out of 10? He didn't do anything positive.
Yeah, so he just gets a 6.
None of those negatives you talked about dropped him below the baseline of 6.
Well, I mean, he wasn't being fed the ball, so it's tough to downgrade him.
I don't care if he doesn't get the ball. He needs to get on the ball. He's a striker.
Yeah,
that's
yeah, but the team wasn't getting past our left. We weren't even getting into the midfield.
That's inexcusable.
I will say, I said it about 15 minutes into the game. I realized exactly who Cal reminds me of. And not, obviously, this is going to be not to the same standard, but this is just for, I don't want to say the casual fan, but they'll understand a little bit more. And once again, a much lower standard, but this is the playing style. Because last week I said he's got a bit of Henri to him, and I need to be castrated just for saying that. He reminds me a lot of Marcus Rashford for United. Obviously not to the same quality, but Marcus Rashford, same thing. They're really fast, they got a bit of physical to them, and they're great when you give them a through ball, but they're missing a lot of one-on-ones.
Rashford doesn't miss one-on-ones like Cowell has.
Okay, yeah. Once again, it's the MLS Rashford. Anyways, I
don't want to hear that ever out of your mouth again.
When they're in the final third, that's the name of the episode. The MLS Rashford.
I'm gonna commit, dude.
Yeah, and then when they're not in the final third, it is useless. They're just holding on to the ball too long, or they pass it really late. The vision's not great, and they're rhyming. And then we're poet, rapper, next podcast. Okay. Anyways, it's just they don't. It's tough for him. He shouldn't be a striker, just like Marcus. He needs to be put on the wing.
We'll get into this later. That's one of the points I want to talk about. Okay, and then we'll just go quickly.
The MLS Rashford.
We'll go quickly through these subs here.
Well, take a little more time on the first one because you.
Yeah. Albicostas, 7.7 out of 10. Had to adapt quickly after being subbed on early and had a great defensive effort early on. Struggled to get his footing offensively early, however, looked solid once he warmed up. I think he played well for what, he came into. He hasn't been with the squad too long, and obviously got thrown in there right away.
Yeah.
I thought he played well. 7.7 might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think he played well.
Tommy's my favorite player on the squad to watch, and especially during the live games. I've said it before. It's so much fun to watch him.
Heartbreak.
Seems like a great guy, but I think Abicostas needs to start, and we'll talk about it later. But
yeah, okay.
Great.
Now this is where it gets ludicrous for me. Like, how do you? I want to know what goes through your head. Wondolowski, and okay, let's just remind ourselves. He missed the sitter. He came on to score that lucky bounce. That's kind of what he comes into the game for. Saz has decided to give him a 6 out of 10 when he missed an open net to tie the game.
Okay.
How?
The first 5 minutes he was on were horrendous because they had him in attacking mid, and he was playing a free roaming role, which is like you don't want him there. Once he was in, Houston had given up the high press, so there was a lot more sitting, so there's a lot more opportunity to create spaces in the middle and drag out the center backs, and I feel like he was opening up spaces and creating chances for us. A lot of off-ball work I feel like he was giving us.
I'm sorry, but as a striker...
Wait, hold on. If I said I started everyone at a 7, would you feel more comfortable with these ratings?
I don't care where they start at. You have to be unbiased.
I'm not.
I know you're not unbiased. You are definitely biased. Okay. Salinas, 7.7 out of 10, looked aggressive early on and was the threat that drew in numbers of the defenders and created a lot of chances once he was subbed on and led or extended his lead on the all-time assist stat for the Quakes, 7.7 out of 10 to reiterate.
This one might have been a little high, I'm going to be honest.
This was the one that I actually thought was pretty reasonable. I thought he played well. I thought he actually had the ability to go at some of their defenders on their right-hand side. I thought he actually played well, and then now you say, "Oh, it's too high." All the players that you gave too high.
I feel like his first 5 or 10 minutes was really high energy, and then after that, the defensive work rate just went down.
He came on to score.
Yeah.
And you're judging him on his defense. You remember we were down.
It's a two-sided game.
I don't care. If he comes on to score, his job is to score.
Well, he was playing left back for a little bit, and then he got moved up.
Okay, and once he moved up, he looked great.
It was all right.
You are so crazy. Okay.
He did play well.
The last couple
he needs to be, I will say, he needs to be a consistent sub for us.
I agree with that. Okay. Last couple here. Rios, 8.2 out of 10.
I never thought. I'll be the first to before you read. I'll be the first to admit I never thought I'd be complimenting this man. I never ever say anything nice about him. This was an incredible game for him. My man of the match out of all our players. Keep going.
All right, so you said he looked comfortable early on and has really found a home in his attacking mid position for San Jose. Was able to find space, connect the lines, had an outstanding performance, and is looking to set the pace once he was subbed on. 8.2. For all of that hype, he didn't really have an end product for us. I admit he did play well. However, an 8.2 out of 10. That is a little high.
I thought he was the best player we had. So for me, again, like I said, when he's at striker, it pains me. It hurts so much. But I feel like he's a lot better when you give him a little bit less running responsibility and put him in the attacking mid spot. And then when he came on, yes, the game was a lot slower, so it is a little harder to grade the subs. And my list is perfect, obviously. But even when I was making it, I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah,
Wink,
okay.
Nudge. Anyways, but what I saw he was checking early and checking into center mid spots and crane and actually running. And making space for other people, which was helping us. And yes, he didn't really get on the end of anything, but I think he was doing a lot of dirty work that didn't get shined as much this game.
Yeah, I mean, he played all right. Okay.
I think he should be a sub. I think he's earned a consistent sub spot there. I don't think he's starting still. I think Trophies is still a better option.
I agree with that. Okay. Last one, Marie, a 6.8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Definitely took a little time to adapt to the game and was a definite drop in defensive quality from Lopez. Houston settled a little more and really let off the gas as they got the 2-goal lead, which opened up space for Marie to attack, which led to the absolute peach of a goal that he scored. That was a fantastic shot. We will
nothing to take away from
definitely
that.
not criticize that.
I mean, they weren't pressing him at all, but even
yeah,
I could go to a local field. It takes me forever to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, coming on and underperforming defensively, even though when he came on we didn't concede, he looked okay. I don't know.
I still think it was a drop in quality from Lopez.
I agree, but I mean, for scoring that goal, that was
it makes up for it.
Great moment. All right.
You fine with the 6.8?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, overall, it was they high pressed. We struggled to get our wingers involved and have them connect to the fullbacks, center mids. Really need to work together more, and we need to find an answer for our striker. Overall, there's a lot of building points. It's the first game of the season. We don't ever start hot. Sadly, this is one of our harder starts to it. I'm not mad with it. I know you are, but we have another game ahead of us next week, and that is FC Dallas. It's a good team. And we both have created a lineup again that we think. I actually have 2 lineups of what we think should be starting. Also, your lineup was off last week. Kikanovic, Haji. Kikanovic wasn't even on the bench.
I know.
Actually, that's another thing I learned from the game. I don't think we're seeing Kikanovic once this season.
I'll be so upset if we don't because we need a striker. I
also want to say I'm really happy with Almeida making a lot of subs this game.
Yeah, thank gosh.
And they were all offensive. I know Marie was a fullback, but offensive subs. Really happy to see that. That's a great adaptation to the previous seasons.
Yeah, thank gosh.
Yeah. So I know all our listeners, or let me rephrase that, listener, subjects, are on Spotify, so you can't really see the screen right now. So we'll explain to you. So right now we have Jacob's lineup. If you want to just explain what we got going on.
Yeah, exactly. So my lineup is going to be a 4-2-3-1. Basically, I have JT in goal, pretty much a shoo-in at this point.
Yeah.
I have Lopez, Alanis, Avikasis, and then in the middle, instead of Youngworth, I have Beeson. I'm sorry, and as you guys clearly know by now, I don't think Youngworth should be starting every single game.
Okay, here's my question for you. I don't have a problem with playing Beeson, but I think he's also going to make mistakes. But are you willing to, because he's younger, build for the future? What's he? Because he makes mistakes too, and the same product last week. He scored. I think there was a goal that was going in, and then he tapped it in, and it was offside. He makes mistakes as well. What's your reasoning for him?
So there's 2 things. First of all, he's much younger than Youngworth. Second of all, when you're making that many mistakes as a center back, you should not be starting every single game still. Beeson, we have to give him a chance. Otherwise, we're not going to have that competition across the back line, dude. We talked about how much in the first episode we wanted to see competition in the squad, and then Youngworth goes out there, directly contributes to a couple goals, And you're like, oh, but I don't want to play Beeson because he's like going to make mistakes too. No, you have to foster competition in the squad, and I think we have to give Beeson a chance at some point. I don't think it will happen yet, unfortunately.
It's your squad, so I'll let you explain them when we get to mine.
I don't think it will happen yet. Hopefully we get some rotation at some point.
And then one change you have is you had Thompson at right back last week. Now you have Abikasis. So what'd you see here?
I think Abikasis played well. Mm-hmm. I think that he looked like he was of a quality different from what we're used to. At the right back, he looked like a proper right back. With Thompson, sometimes you don't feel like he's a defender. He gets caught out and he makes too many steps that just leave so much space in behind. I think that Lucio is pretty much just an overall solid right back. Nothing crazy, but I think he's solid.
We're about a half an hour in, and I think you're finally starting to make a little sense. What did you give him? About a 7.8?
No, I would say like a 7.
Yeah, okay. So your two holding mids.
Two holding mids. We have Yule and Jutson. I don't know if Jutson's going to be back with the squad by next week.
Him and Lopez got the green card at the same time, and I don't know, maybe there's some problem with Jutson still, but Jutson should be there.
I hope that he can come back. He's definitely a good player for us.
You weren't a fan of his.
I wasn't a fan of him, but he definitely started playing well towards the end of last season.
Yeah.
I'll admit that. Remedy,
I like him.
Remedy this last game, just I don't know, man.
I think Jutson just pairs a little better with Yule.
I don't think he did enough to convince me he should be starting over Jutson. Okay, then we have Trophies, and at the 10 position, I think that he's pretty much our best playmaker.
I just clocked your star striker.
Yeah, let me get into that. Okay, so then I have Espinoza and at the right wing. I think that's a shoe-in. Left wing and striker. These are the positions that...
Why don't we just put Fiero in so we can get both
the
Wonder Twin? We can get the window... You really were going to put Fiero in.
Okay, so let me just explain.
I just got slandered for 15 minutes, 20 minutes on my absurdity, and you have the audacity to do that.
Let me get into this.
Okay.
Right? So, Cowell up top last game. Playing striker is very difficult. And when you're so young against all these big, strong men, I'm not saying Cowell's weak, but Cowell doesn't have the experience to play on his own up top.
Also, he has the body of a Greek god, but when you're 17, you don't have grown man strength yet.
Exactly.
And there was one play where he put his life and soul, and Superman dived into a center back, and the center back just somewhat stumbled over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that just playing the position up top alone, because the way the Quakes play, usually it's an isolated striker up top. It's tough to play, and he wasn't involved. I think that when you're younger, especially for Cal, he might fare better out wide. So that's why I have him on the left wing.
I think he's better as striker when he comes on as a sub.
Yeah, I just think that...
a little slower, but I see what you're saying. I agree.
I didn't want to see Fiero again, so I put him out left wing.
Why not Salinas? Because you were really big on him last game.
I think Salinas probably just does better coming out the bench. He's a little quick.
I'm going to agree with that as well.
I think that Salinas gives us a good, solid attacking option. He has the potential to create moments. Like the last season, he had a couple game winners for us too. He came on as a sub. This is where I can't even believe I did this either. I put Rios.
Somewhere there is not even hours, days worth of text of Jacob hating on this man.
And you too.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, I admitted it. And you have him in the starting 11.
I think that because I moved Cowell out wide to the left, I didn't know who was going to start up top. And I just would want to see somebody other than Wando. I think Wando's getting a little too old. I think that we need to find a striker. And although Rios is very against running sometimes...
Yeah, you just asked someone to get hold-up play and move for us and be a physical presence, and your option for the physical presence was Rios. That was your physical presence, huh?
I just...
That was your high press maneuver?
I don't want Rios up to there. I think he's probably better somewhere, checking deep, maybe even...
So we're just going to play a 4-2-4-0?
The problem is I don't think we have another player in the squad who can play striker right now. I would love to see Benji up there, Kikanovic.
Yeah, I'd like to at least see him as a sub.
I want to see him, but Almeida didn't include him in the first game. I don't know what happened. We'll have to see how that progresses.
Maybe he's just not up to the standard. We don't see what happens on the training room. Yeah.
Maybe. So let's get into your lineup and see how you differ.
All right, on to my lineup. So I actually made two lineups for this game. I The one I'm going to show second is the one I made first, and then I realized that we might not be the most comfortable with this. So this first lineup is going to be one that's a little bit more realistic, and what I think we're probably going to see something similar to. I think there'll be a couple changes, but I think this is maybe our strongest right now. But the second one is something I'd like to see us adapt to. So this first one is a 4-2-3-1, much like yours.
Oh my goodness.
We have a lot of the same. I think it's actually only 2 positions we changed. So we both have JT in goal, Shu in, Lopez, we both agreed, is the number 1. And then, Alanis, I think we both agree is the top center back for us. I still back Youngworth. I'm fine with seeing Beeson get a couple games, but I'm fine with Youngworth. I thought him and Alanis are starting to partner well together. I want to build that chemistry a little bit more, especially with Abikasis coming in. And I think Abikasis should also be starting. I thought he was great when Tommy came on again. Breaks my heart not to see Tommy in there. I love seeing him play, and I think he should be a great sub for us. You can even put Tommy up top, and he can be a little bit more of a false 9. I was going to have Tommy attacking mid, but Rios and Chofis have been doing great. We have the same 2 holding mids, Jutes and Yule. I think they've been partnering well together. I think they suit each other's games, and I think Jutson will help a little bit more with Youngworth. I think it just brings more balance to the squad. Espinoza out right, that's our main man. Actually, we had the same attacking front line as well, except for the striker. Espinoza out wide. Again, I want to see him checking a bit more, and I want to see a bit more movement and a little bit of help, but it's great. Chofis has been phenomenal. Just a little bit more finding him on the ball and having him do a little more off-ball runs if he is being man-marked. And then Cal, I feel, is better suited left wing. Vision needs to improve, but I think that only will come with game experience. He's young. We say it every game. He's only 17. Give him more chances, but play him out wide. I think that's where it's going to best suit him. I don't see him turning into a striker.
Yeah, I think we both agree on that.
Yeah. Or if he is a striker, it's going to be more like, God, I know I just said I should be castrated for this. Henri, who, when he did play striker, it was in a 2-striker system, but he got to float out left. So it became more of a left striker or left wing. Now,
this is where I can't believe you actually did this.
This one was tough. I was tempted to put Espinoza up top and have Shea starting, but what I decided is I think Shea is better when you get him in small doses. I think we both can agree on that. I think Wando is also better when you get him in small doses as far as efficiency. However, when I really looked back at last game and I looked at the miss, sucks. You've got to put that away, especially with someone of Wando's quality. When you have Wando on for 90 minutes, though, or maybe even 60 or 70, because he'll probably be subbed, you get more opportunities like that. He's in those spaces more. It creates more danger and opens up spaces because he draws more attention because of the name, the profile, and the ability. So even though he'll let us down in some areas, I think it creates more spacing for everyone. And it really kills the hold-up play, and we do need to find a solution for it, but I just think right now that's the best what we have. And then some subs I'd like to see. Can't believe I'm saying it. Rios, I think he's if Chofis gets tired, I want to see that. Or honestly, I'd like to see Chofis up top too. He put in a great goal against Roots.
I don't know about a striker. He's not physical.
We'll see. But Salinas, put him anywhere. Put him anywhere on the wing or up top. Creates chances. Needs to be a sub. I don't care if we're down or up.
I completely agree with
that. If we're down, just put him in defense. If we're up, put him in defense. If we're down, put him up top. Really good. If Lopez is hurt or really gassed, you can put him Marie. I'm still not really sold on him, but it's whatever. Doesn't hurt us too much. And then maybe just give a couple of the young guys some shouts, right? You can put Beeson in for Alanis. Just kidding. Youngworth, obviously. Thompson's got to get in. Creativity, attacking.
Yeah.
Just, it brings energy to the game. I would definitely think that's how I'd round out my 4-2-3-1 in my first lineup.
Yeah, not too many changes from last week for you.
Yeah, no, this is actually the exact same lineup I had the previous week. I'd like to see, again, some of the younger guys, especially Kikanovich. Now, Jacob hasn't seen the second one, and usually I send it to him a little bit before.
I haven't seen this one.
This one's a little bit wild, and I'm going to need everyone to stay with me here.
I might like it.
All right.
Okay.
This is initial reaction.
Oh, gosh. What?
Okay. So, for everyone that's listening, a.k.a. James, to the podcast, we can... Oh, my computer is freezing. All right, there we go. So, I've changed the formation to a 4-1-2-1-2, a.k.a. the diamond. And it has the 2 left and right mids as like left and right mids, but I'd have them more as center mids. That's just how it aesthetically comes out. So, Same back line for me. Markowski in goal. We agree on that. We agree on the whole back line except for Youngworth. I have Jutson as the defensive mid. I think this is good for multiple reasons. I think this suits him. Energizer Bunny. I think this plays into our wanting that third center back is our midfield system we've been playing. And it helps out Youngworth when he steps. And then adds a bit of energy. And then those negative runs, I feel like Jutson's a lot better at covering them than the others. And then, another reason this is good is because I have our two center mids as Remedi and Yule. I think this frees Remedi to get out of that center back position and allows him to attack space more up and be more of a center mid that can attack higher. And this frees Yule not to have as many defensive abilities as well because maybe Remedi can come a little bit more. Chofis, I have him as the attacking mid. Yeah, just he's been great there. I don't think we have to argue. Now, this is where it got difficult for me. Because Espinosa's been our best offensive player the last two, arguably 3 seasons. And he's been doing great on the out wide position. But I didn't want him in the midfield, and I wanted to free Remedi a little bit more. So I put him up top with Wando. It was between Espinosa and Cal, who I wanted up there, because I think Cal and Wando can make a really good partnership. But I can't leave Espinosa out.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
This will allow Wando to check more. And yes, his touches can be a little bit rough. But when classic check and run when they're playing. When Espinosa's checking, you get a little bit more touching and play. When Wando's checking, you get a little bit more space in behind and you focus on playing Espinosa through. And then if you do get a through ball, you can attack the space and you have Wando centralized where he needs to be. Now, this is going to lead a little bit space out wide so that we're not going to have much attack. But we've been wanting to get our fullbacks up, and we do a good job of it. And this is going to, especially if we put Thompson in the right back, this is going to be a perfect formation for him to bomb up the wings and really get good runs going.
Let me just say, this might be one of your best ideas, actually. I know.
You didn't like the player reviews earlier. I thought those were great.
Those were terrible. But honestly, though, this could work. I was thinking about putting 2 strikers up top, too. Yeah. Because I just don't see an immediate solution for a lone striker right now. Maybe 2 strikers is in the future. I don't know.
We used to play a 4-4-2 flat before Almeida, and I don't like that because it doesn't give us as much options. And I was looking at more options to get our midfield. Yeah. The main point of this is I want more midfielders so that we can churn and create a little bit more and not rely so much on the wings. And this will help us a little bit more with compacting the defense. It's not the whole 2-striker thing. This is more of it helps us on defense a little bit more and kind of flows with our offense.
Yeah, I mean, this could be worth a shot. Who knows? Maybe we'll explore 2 strikers sometime down the season. I don't know.
I think this still works for the subs that I'd like too. You can put Shea up top. You can put him in the left sides anywhere. Marie, if we have to, same spot. Tommy Thompson, I think, can go just about any position that's left, right back, any of the midfield positions. I'd love to see Tommy play attacking mid once or twice. I think this would be a good formation for Fierro to be attacking mid, and then we have Cal that can go up top for this formation.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility with this. The good thing about our midfielders, Ewell, Remedi, and Judson, I think they're all interchangeable, honestly, too, throughout that 3. I think that we do have a lot of flexibility. If one of them needs to get subbed out, somebody else could rotate down, and then that frees up space for like a Fierro sub or a Salinas sub or a Thompson sub. There's many things you can do with that. I kind of like it, actually.
You can also change this into a false 9 with Chofis being up there, and you can switch Wando and someone else. Yeah. And that way when we're in our defensive shape, maybe we transition into a different shape, and this could be our offensive shape or vice versa. Do I think this will ever happen? No. I think
Probably not.
I think we're in the 4-2-3-1, which is one of my favorite formations, and I like the idea, but I think we need to change it up a little bit since we're not finding options for the wings.
Yeah.
But we got FC Dallas next week.
We'll have to see what we come out next week.
They're a big team most years.
And I think that we have to make some adjustments from last week for sure. Yeah. I just don't know what Almeida is going to come out and do.
I want a point.
I want some points.
We need to start getting some points on the board. I know it's only game 2, but I want stronger starts.
We can't fall too far behind early on.
Yeah, and again, like as much as I called it a good loss, I don't want a good loss this week, which I could deal with, but stuff happens. They work hard. I know they've been working hard. I'd like to see it come out in the stat sheet this week.
Good things mean results. We have to get results.
Yep. All right, now it's time for answer little fan questions. We got literally hundreds of submissions. It was incredible. Just off the bat, I had to turn off my phone. It was about to break.
We had to narrow down the questions, get a couple really good ones.
We really appreciate all the support, guys. Thanks for making it this far in the podcast, James. So the first question comes from Dollar_Bill17, the GOAT.
Seems like he's a very passionate fan.
Yeah, he has a little Premier League desk in his background as his avatar. He asked, can you guys discuss what's keeping the Quakes from signing big-name players? Like, is it because of financial reasons? Smaller market? #ask Aftershock. Well, I guess I can take this one.
You can start off.
So, we'll start with just big names in general, not even signing. I guess you kind of got to get lucky in the lottery. Who's in your area? Who's scouting? And obviously California has a lot of talent, but a lot of them may go to SoCal or get scouted to other places, and colleges might take them other places. We've been lucky to get players like Wando, Shea, Cade Cowell's one that's been local and growing up in the area, Tommy Thompson, Nick Lima. But as far as signing, and this usually is more for the European talents, you're exactly right. First off, with the smaller market, we are the smallest market. We have the lowest income. We are poor. We had to sell our Reno team. We're in the red every single year. It is very poor from a professional standard. Yeah. And on top of that, if you're a European talent, you're coming to the MLS not for competition, but to live in America. You're not choosing San Jose. Yes, you can be in the Bay Area, and yes, you can. It's cool to have all these investments, but you're not doing it to do that at that point. You're living it life. That's why you see them go to LA. You see them go to Miami, New York. And yes, some have gone to Chicago and DC, but those are still more prominent places than San Jose.
Yeah, they have more of a reputation, right?
Yeah, and exactly. The teams are a little bit more established than us as well.
I think another key reason, though, and it's obvious we don't have a huge budget. However, I would say some of our upper management decisions have been questionable as far as the contracts, right? Because when Almeida came in, he clearly gave the board a list of targets.
Yes.
We had Rios, Fierro, obviously now we have Trophies, a bunch of different players that you would suspect Almeida pointed towards. However, when you look at the contracts that Fierro and Rios have been given, they're substantially more than many of our other players, and you have to think, have they justified that with their performances so far?
Yeah, like we have other players. I don't know how much Cade Cowell's making. I could look it up, but on the other day on Instagram, he was trying to sell a phone case through DMs, and I've never seen a professional athlete do that, so it must be down bad for some of us.
Yeah, it's just the distribution of our funds. I would love to read more into that. I think that the primary core reasons, though, are it's a smaller market, and
location.
We just don't have a huge budget, but there's a couple other reasons as well.
Yeah. That is a great question, by the way. $_Bill17.
Fantastic question.
Our next question, and again, guys, sorry if your question didn't get answered. Go ahead and ask it again next week on next week's post. We really had to narrow these down. Our next question comes from James Dalla via text message 5 minutes before we started shooting. And this one starts with another question. I don't know why I said another, because we didn't choose his other question. Yeah. We chose just this one from James Dalla.
Wait, who's James Dalla?
Not related to $_Bills.
I don't see the connection there.
We'll just actually question I got. What's the best way to phase out Wando and Salinas? This has been on the mind of all Quakes analysis fans and probably the players and staff for a good part of a decade now.
Especially if you're a younger player.
Yeah.
Looking ahead of you.
I think Salinas, we've started to move to the bench, and even though it seems every time he comes on he's one of our most effective players, I think we've kind of moved on from that. I think we find wingers. We had, I forget his name, I think it was he was here for like a season or two. He was a number 10. He was very good for us. We had Vaco before that we had Vaco out wide. Now we have Espinoza. Wingers come and go. We'll find a flashy Hispanic winger every once in a while.
I think Salinas has a clear role now as an impact player off the bench, and I think he's more or less happy with that. And he does make a good impact coming off the bench. You know, he does have moments.
I think we tried developing Wando into that last year by starting Rios up top and then giving Wando the last 30 minutes. Obviously, we don't have a clear signing for Wando. It's hard to replace such players of such caliber. You're never going to replace your top scorer and your top assist in the following season, if ever. Yeah. So I think it's less of a question of phasing them out and phasing into a system which we've seen built with Almeida. but really giving us an identity and a team to play around instead of let's hope one of these two can do something for us.
I mean, we touched upon this earlier. I think this question is more applicable to Wando. Wando is clearly getting up there in age. He's, 39 now or something, I think?
207.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, you definitely have to think, all right, what's the end point here? Because he keeps getting these 1-year contract extensions. It's tough because you look at our squad depth. There's no clear replacement for him right now, and that's one of the trickiest things. And we argued about that, obviously, in our lineups, and we don't know what the replacement is. There's no obvious striker we have that can come in. You know, that's why I was hoping to see someone like Benji come in and rival him for that spot, but we haven't seen any signs of that happening yet. I just hope that there's going to be some player we sign soon or another homegrown player that develops into that role. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you think?
Nope, agree with what you said. And I just think that hits the nail on the head. And we had so many more questions to choose from, but these two really were just at such a standard. We would have felt we would have left so many people out had we chosen another that was just below that. But these were so high. But come back next week and we'll choose some more questions. Thanks, James Dalla, of course. And Dalla_Bill17. Yep. You guys were really the rock stars with your questions this week. Way to be the first ones on the podcast to have fan questions answered. You can see more next week, and we're really hoping for a win, honestly. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, I think we want a positive result next week. Not a positive loss. I want a positive result.
I want some offense next week, too.
I want some points on the board. I want to see us come out fast. I don't want to see us playing passively the whole time. I want to see a good, solid performance. I want to see us have some fun out there, get some points.
Yeah, long live Youngworth.